This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos Daf Pei Gimel, or middle of the machlekes between Rabbah and Rav Lazar, how to explain the machlekes Tanakam and Rav Akiva. So we finished off on the top of the Amud. The Rav Akiva explains how he is makish nida lemasa. The Gemara answered, so therefore, so why is nida ina el avarim? Avodah ina el avarim. According to Cham Verguria, Avodah Yashli Varim Ina Levarim, says the Gemara, why aren't we paishet? Whether it's Rabban or Akiva, it's Ina Levarim. Gemara said, V'cham Baguria Kirabba Masnila Baila leave Ravi Akiva. So ask the Gemara on Rabba of a Zar Kisharetz, Mesa. Of a Zar Kisharetz, Kisharetz. Rav Akiva, Imer, of a Zar Kinida, Kinida. So Bishop Rav Lazar Nichol, that's the Mamish how Rav Lazar explained. El Rabba, according to Rabba, Kasha. So Amr L'cha Rabba Mi Elimal Masnisan, and yes, says Mamish the same kasha, because says Rabba that is exactly the same words as the Mishnah that said what the Katani Eitav Ivanav Avarim Mitam Kisheretz, and yet how do we explain the Mishnah? Vukimna, and we explain the Mishnah Masheretz Lo Mitam Bevan Misama Hachanam Mido Mitam Bevan Misama. So says Rabba the same way that we're able to explain this into the Mishnah. We explain into the words of the Brisa, and therefore there is no kash. So Meisvei the Gemara is another kash. We're at the end of the narrow lines in the top of Begimel Amar Aleph, a nachri or nachris, a guy or a female guy of a desarim shemshah, an idol, or any of the items that serve the idol, hein v'loy hesiton, they are tummy. But there's no hesed. Hesed is a type of tama when you carry an item. Rav Akiva Imer, hein v'hesiton, no, both they are tummy, and it's tamei if you carry them. So says the Gemara, B'Shlam Rav Lazar Nicha. According to Rav Lazar, this makes sense. El Rabba, according to Rabba, says that even according to the Rabbanan, there is hesed when it comes to Avodah Zarah, kasha, because the Brisa seems to say not like Rabba. Amrulcha Rabba, so Rabba responds, U'letaimech, nachri v'nachras nami, hin v'lo yiseitan. U'letaimech, according to you, a guy and a guy, a female guy, hin v'lo yiseitan. But how do you learn that itself? Because what does the Brisa say? V'atanya, dabra al b'nei Yisrael. And from there we learn out, b'nei Yisrael mitam haziva, b'nei nachri mitam haziva. A little bit of a counterintuitive, perhaps, because maybe we would think, well, a guy should have the highest level of tumah. But Lamaisa, we learn from Xeris Haikosov that it's not that way. That when it comes to only Bnei Yisrael, there's tumah ziva, and not to a guy. But this special gezerah of a gazra love she'd gizav l'chol devreim midirabanan. We say a guy does have a tumas zava entirely. So what do we see? We see that the tumah of a guy is just like the same thing as a zav. And therefore, just as a zav has toma if it's carried, so to a guy should have toma if it's carried. How does the Brisa say that there's no toma heset by a guy? Says the Gemara, El Rab Madars Taimei. Rabba will explain that what? Rabba is going to insert, just like he inserts into the Mishnah, just like he inserts into the Brisa. Hein vehesiton. And Evan Misama, the type of Tuma, again, let's remind ourselves, Evan Misama is when you have something on top of something else. It's not really supported by its weight, but because it's on top of it, then underneath it becomes tummy as if it is on top of it. Avodah Zarah, he vesitin, avaloy Evan Misama, Shelah. That's how Rabbah is going to explain. Rav Kiva Imer, Avodah Zarah, he vesitin, Evan Misama, Shelah. Rav Lazar Mataris, that's how Rabbah is going to explain. The Rabbah is going to explain that even though, according to the Rabbanan, the Rabbanan are going to agree that they're going to argue with regard to Evan Misama only. That what? He so both Rav Lazar and Rav Akiva and the Chachamim, according to both Rav Lazar and Rabbah, will explain the Brisa according to their own shitos. So Maskil Rav Ashi says the Gemara, another kasha. My hain, in the words of the Brisa, we have a word issue that it says that they are tamei. But the question is, what do you mean? If it's items being carried, of course it's tamei. What does it have to add on? Hain vehesitan shalen. Of course the tamei itself. Elam Ravashi, so says Ravashi, Nub Shad Hachi Kamer. 8 lines from the bottom. First one line is Hachi Nachri v'Nachris. Ben Hain Shesitan is Achirim. Whether they carry other items ben achirin shesita noisan, whether other items carry them to me and they are tummy. Avodah zara shesita achirin tahirin, but an idol carried by someone are tahar. Achirin shesita noisan to me, but if others carry the idol, then they're tummy. So if the idol carries, the person doesn't impart tum misham shemel. When it comes to the items that utilize the service of the avodah zarah, whereas Rabbi Kiva comes along and he says, "Nachri v'nachris ve'avodah zarah benein shesitin ezachem menachem shesitin oisam misham tmeim shamsha benein shesitin achem menachem shesitin oisam tohirim." So the brisa is not clear that the items being carried are going to be tamei, but rather there's two different types of hesed that are coming out of the din of the brisa. There's regular when you're carrying something that's going to be tamei, and then there's a hesed of a zav, which is when the zav carries an item, and that's going to be the machlekes Rabbanan and Rebbe Akiva. So says the Gemara of Ashi, you're coming along with a totally new pshat over here. Says the Gemara, 1 second. I understand the case that there's going to be tama when acher marhisi tenoisan elihi shesitas acher meichim mishkachasla. How is it possible? Because what does it mean, Tomas Hesed? Tomas Hesed is an act of carrying. And the problem is, an avodah zarah is an inanimate object. And an inanimate object, of course, is not possible of carrying something. Which I'm sure was bothering many when we read that there's going to be Tomas Hesed when avodah zarah carries you. How can avodah zarah carry me? So Amar Rami Breder Rav Yeva Kiditzana. No, it is Shaykh. Zav v'kav mazayim. If we have a zav we have a scale, and the zav is on one side. And the food and the drinks are on the other side. Kara zav tameihim. The zav weighs down his side, it's tamei. We turn over tamei beis, we karahein tahirim. So we see that there is a possibility to have a form of hesed, a form of carrying even by inanimate objects, and that's how it works according to Rav Ashi. Pick it up from here, B'siyata Dishmaya.